Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Ledwell, and I'd love to welcome you to the broadcast for today. For those of you who have not met me yet or have never come across one of my videos before, I am the co-founder of a personal development company called Mind Movies, and I'm the best-selling author of a book called Never in Your Wildest Dreams. And I do these broadcasts a couple of times a week, just to bring you some tips and some tricks and some hints and information that will hopefully unblock a blockage for you, help you take your life to the next level, or just help you see life in a different way. So welcome to the broadcast. If you are here, please make sure that you say hi, let me know where you're from, so that I can give you a little cheerio and say hi to you as well. Okay, so today I am going to be talking about how to stop worrying and how to take action. How to stop worrying and then take action. So it is quite a common thing that I get messages I get from people who, they're trying to overcome anger or they've got resentment or something around a specific situation. They're stressed and they're trying to move through that, or they're very stuck in this certain level of where they are in their life, or where they're like in a project. And then also how people have limiting beliefs as well. So always asking, how do I move through that? So we will be addressing all of that today, and I'll be talking from personal experience as I normally do, because I go through all this stuff myself as well. So I'll be talking about that. So let me say some hellos. I've got a Monica Albright here. Hi, Monica. Good to see you. Richard Lebroy. Hi, Richard. Let's see. Janet Hopkins. Hello from GA, which I think is Georgia. Gary Collins from New Zealand. Hi, Gary. Amelia is from Greece. Hi, Amelia. Sandra Kramer is from Maine. Hi, Sandra. And I've got Kelly Holt from Chicago. I have Lynette Butt. Hi, Lynette Butt. Good to see you again, darling. Gemma Green from Adelaide. Hi, Gemma. We've got Vic Ruiz is from Nevada. Good to see you here, Nick. Richard's from North Carolina. Thank you for letting me know. Don McGurgan. Hello. You sound like you could be from Ireland. Not sure. And Cindy Key, good to see you here, Cindy. Yes. You know what? My messages always seem to be timely for somebody, which is great. Lafita hi, how are you? Mandy Clark, good to see you here again. Joy Cash, hello from Kentucky. Hi, Joy. Casey McIntyre from Toronto. Awesome. I've got Renita from the Bronx in New York, and Christiana is from, I think that's Australia. It could be New Zealand. I can't see what color those stars are. Possibly New Zealand. Great to see you all here today. So again, like I was saying, today we're going to be talking about how to stop worrying and take action, which I think can sometimes be an issue for some of us. So, we fall into the trap of procrastination, or we're sort of moving along and then we sort of get to this roadblock in the road, and it seems to stop us from being able to take that action and going to the next level. So what I find is the reason behind most of the reasons that we stop is because we get stuck in a story. We have this story in our mind that we have created, which normally is connected to some of our programs and limiting beliefs. And this story is, we make up a story about what's happening. What's happening. We make up a story about the people that we're dealing with in this situation. And it's not just the story that we make up, but it's also the habitual pattern of us staying in that story. Okay, so like a perfect example of this is, when I was towards the end of my marriage, towards the end of my 18-year marriage, I, especially for the last year or two, was so unhappy and just, not happy with my situation, that I was blaming my ex-husband for everything. I blamed him because I was not motivated. I blamed him because I couldn't shine. I blamed him because I was overweight. I blamed him because I was unhappy. It was all his fault for everything. And so I realized that by doing that and making up this story, it kept me in the story. It kept me in that situation. And it wasn't until we actually separated and I lost my scapegoat that I realized, whoa, wait a minute. I have to take responsibility here. This has to be from me. And it was only from that place that I could then step into a more empowering part of my life, because I knew that I had to be accountable for the way that I was showing up. You know, it was one of the first questions I asked, like, how did I show up in the demise of my marriage? So, it was a very important step to take. So these are the two things that I really, we have this story that we keep making up, and we stay in the story. So let me give some examples of some common stories that people get stuck in. And especially when we think about other people, like if you see someone who's doing something, you go, stories, well, they shouldn't be acting that way. Or if you're in a relationship, you're like, if they loved me, they wouldn't do this. If they loved me, they'd act differently. If they loved me, they wouldn't be so inconsiderate, which is one of the stories I had. Another story is that, like, this is too hard. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I suck. I'm failing. I'm never going to make it. These are the stories that we make up. Things like, I can't start my business until I learn a certain thing. I can't start my business until I have a certain amount of money. I can't start my business until, I've got all my ducks in a row and I've completely finished, the whole plan. These are the things that hold us back. These are just stories that we make up. And so when we're in these stories, we have to learn how to break free. We have to learn how to, we're looking at the story here at the front, and all we need to do is move our head a little bit like that and go, oh, okay, different story over here, completely different, different situation, different perspective. So before I tell you how we break out of that vicious cycle, I'm going to say a few more hellos before I do that. Daryl Beswick. Hi from Hobart. Wow. Hi, Derek. Good to see you here. Craig Baxter from Canberra. Oh, good to see all the Aussies here today. Lynette Butt, still worrying, but taking more action each day. Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you how we can do that. Now, Norman James is in this day and age, if you don't have no money, you don't have no life. Well, that is a interesting point that you bring up, Norman, because I have been to some of the most impoverished places in the world, and one place that really stands out for me is Brazil. I met people that lived in the favelas there, and the favelas are the slums, so they don't really have a lot of money. They don't, they build their own housing, they siphon electricity off the main, and Brazilians were some of the most happiest people I've ever met. And I think that when you are in a situation where you believe that is the reason, this is your story, Norman, if that's the reason that you can't move forward, then you'll always stay in that story. So it's time to kind of, shift your focus a little bit and go, okay, well, how about I be happy first? How about I start to be fulfilled and grateful for what I have right now? And by doing that, you're raising your vibration. You're raising the level of your emotions to a higher frequency. Now, what's in that higher frequency is abundance. Now, abundance doesn't necessarily mean money, but it can mean money. So when you're in that higher frequency, you start to get more ideas on how you can expand. You start to, meet people that are meeting you at the frequency that you're at. Okay, so we want to try and get into those higher frequencies as often as possible. Okay, Zaki is from Egypt. Oh my goodness, hi, how are you? Argo is from Poland. Good to see you here. I've got Debbie Mislov from Adelaide. Hi. Leanne saying, I love watching your videos. Thank you for sharing your wonderful thoughts, your wisdom, and your positive light. I know that, how you feel about the blame game. I've learnt my lesson with blaming games. I took my power back, and I'm single and a lot happier. See? It's the happiness is in the accountability, which even relates to what I was saying about, Norman's perception before. When we take responsibility for the stories that we're making up in the situations that we're in, this is when we have the power to do something about them. Okay. Sunil is from India. Hi, Sunil. Good to see you here. Consuela, I think, is from Barbados. Hi. Good to see you here. Viz Oy is from Vanuatu. Oh my goodness, Vanuatu. I've been there. I love your country. It's fantastic. Or your island. I think it's both. Cheryl Commodore. Good to see you here again, Cheryl. Cheryl's from the UK. Great. Okay, so we've talked about what our stories can be, how we do the blame game, how we have this story about, what we think is right, which is holding us back from moving forward. And so it keeps us in this vicious cycle of worrying. So how do we move through that? All right, let me tell you. So the first thing you want to do is notice or acknowledge that you're in a story. Okay, so, here's the thing. Sometimes, we'll have these programs, these limiting beliefs, these stories come up for us, and, they really make a lot of sense. They really sound like common sense. Like, you can't really do anything in this life unless you have money. That's a story, and it doesn't have to be your story. You can choose something different. Okay, so when you hear that story, or when you hear that, notice what's going on. Notice what emotions it's bringing up for you. Now, here's a hint. You'll know it's a story that's holding you back if the kind of emotions that come up for you are things like shame or frustration or helplessness or guilt, or any of those kind of lower vibrational emotions. Okay, so really notice what that emotion is that's coming up for you as you recite or you think about that story. Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is acknowledge that that's what this story is doing for you. Acknowledge this story is really what's holding you stuck in the place that you're at right now. Okay, so acknowledge it. It's out in the open now. You go, okay, I see you. Before, you were running in the background. I didn't realize that this is what was going on, but I see you now. So that's the next step. And then I want you to, first of all, try this on for size. So, we talk a lot about visualization here at My Movie. So visualize yourself actually keeping moving forward. Visualize yourself not believing that story, but actually taking action and moving forward, and see what the outcomes are. See what's happening. See the way that you're acting, the way that you're moving, the choices that you're making, the emotions that you're feeling when you choose to release that story. Okay, so really sit in the and marinate in the juiciness of what that's going to look like. Okay, so let's take, for example, that one of your stories is that if I eat cake or if I drink alcohol, I'm going to be overweight. Okay, so maybe that's one of the stories that you have. And so you go like, well, if I'm doing that, what's the point of exercising? Okay, so even while you're thinking that story, I want you to challenge it and go, well, is this really true? Now, as you're thinking about this and marinating in this, I want you to actually be putting on your workout gear, tying up your shoelaces, walking out the door. So even though your mind is thinking one thing, now you're getting curious and you're starting to challenge that story as you're physically taking the actions to move through it. Okay, and so then you'll find that you start exercising, if this is the example that we're using, and that things you're already starting to challenge. You're starting to challenge that thought. You're starting to challenge that story. And then drop into what you're doing in that moment. Really feel the emotions of having the feeling of accomplishment that you actually got your butt out of bed and you got to the gym, which is what I have to do most mornings. So, getting up and getting out there is an accomplishment in itself. So then feel what it's like to feel those emotions, those more positive emotions that are in alignment with this new action that you're taking. And the other thing that I want to say is often what mobilizes us as well is that we're looking at the mountain. We look at this mountain of this job that's in front of us and we're like, it's overwhelming. It's too much. I don't even know where to begin. Okay, we don't want to be there. We don't want to be sitting in the overwhelmment of the whole thing. The only thing we need to do is focus on the next step. As small as it may be, just focus on the next step. And I've spoken about this a lot before about the children's program that I'm working on. We've created 260 lessons. Getting through and writing them and creating those lessons was a mountain in itself. But we have another mountain. So now I'm in the studio and I'm recording all of those 260 lessons. Then we got to look at getting into the schooling system, and there's just so many mountains. But I can't keep looking at the mountains. I just have to look at the one step that's in front of me, and then focus on that. And once that's done, I'm like, okay, what's the next one? And this is how you maintain the momentum. And what it does is it stops you from worrying so much about the future, and every time you take a positive step forward in the present, and what's happening now, it opens up, the world around you. You're resonating at the frequency because your thoughts and your actions and your emotions are in alignment with this future that you're creating. And so what you find that is that as you're working, you're in flow. As you're working, everything is easier. and you find that, you know, the solutions for the next step that you're not even focusing on yet start to show up for you before you even need them, because you're already in flow and you're taking that action. You know, taking that action is your way of telling the universe that without a shadow of a doubt, you are going to get this happen. You're going to make this happen. You're going to make this project work. Okay. So how did that, I hope that was really helpful. Let me say a few more hellos and check-ins before I go. I've got Regina here from Latvia. Wow, Regina, good to see you here. Lawrence is from the Netherlands. Hi, Lawrence, how are you? Patrice Hemingway is from Waterloo in Iowa. Hi, thank you for the video. Excellent. We've got Dallas Baxendall is from Regal in Alberta, Canada. I hope I'm pronouncing all of these things right. Sharon Johnson, there's an easy one for me. Love taking action. It is amazing. Fantastic. Okay, I've got Nilva. Nilva is from in Brazil. Hi. So when I went to Brazil, I was in Buzios, Rio, Florianopolis, and Iguazu. So I don't know where you're from, Nilva, but hi. Sharon saying, when things are overwhelming you, you can't start. Exactly. That's why you can't look at the mountain. You just got to look at the first step. Jackie Underwood. Yes. Good to see you here. Elizabeth Douglas. Great to hear that this was helpful. Jackie Underwood is from Anatoch in Canada, I think. Oh, no, California, maybe. I don't know. Victoria is from Montreal. Hi, I was in Montreal last week. Hello to you. So yes, here we go, guys. So it's all about choosing the story that you want to tell, acknowledging where you are, making sure that you're still taking action, you know, getting those vibrations or those emotions and the frequency you're sending out to be a vibrational match to where you want to end up. It's all very important. So I also want to let you know that we do have a special offer for anyone that's been on the broadcast today that I would love for you to take advantage of. It is our Limitless You program. Now, the Limitless You program is really designed to help you get through the obstacles that you're facing. So I know that we've shared some really helpful information here, but if there's something that you're stuck on right now in your life, I really encourage you to click on the link that my team is going to put here in the chat box and check out the Limitless You program. It's very small, it's very bite-sized, but it's specifically designed to get you unstuck. And we are actually offering an 83% discount on the regular retail price of that program if you've been here on the broadcast today. So the program's only $17. So it's a steal. So I highly recommend that you click on the link and take advantage of that. Thank you to everyone that joined me today. And I look forward to coming to you again on Friday. So same time, 2:30 p.m. on Friday. And I'll be coming to you with a new subject. And if you have any suggestions of what you'd love me to cover in the broadcast, just make sure you put a little note here in the comment box, and I will do my best to make sure we cover that on a future show. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have an amazing day. Ciao for now. Bye, everyone.